因为其实这个夏季赛我们有经历了一些比较其他的一些赛事吧，像洲际赛啊，或是亚运会。然后其实我们自己的练习时间其实相比之下是少蛮多的吧，我觉得。所以我觉得我们有在东部第2的这个成绩已经算很不错了。我们队伍的状态的话，感觉现在还算可以吧，但就是很多地方还可以都在改进。因为我们其实训练的时间也比较少一点嘛，所以我们要更加努力去练习，然后磨练出一些新套路。然后我自己的话，状态也要保持好，感觉最近自己的比赛都打的不是自己想要打出来的效果啊，所以自己也要更加努力去练习。
Yeah. I mean, that's the caveat that we have to keep in mind with RNG. Significantly less time to practice, and it actually makes sense if you have the B roster coming in first, if this is you trying to put your best foot forwards, because everyone else has been out at Asian Games, or they've been prepping for Asian Games, and that's been the last month or so for them.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors didn't have to go. They didn't send any members towards that event, and I think that's one of their biggest strengths because they had so much time to actually prep 8.16. There's still a lot of champions that we don't know what they're going to bring out. Like, for instance, Mouse. He's still playing right now. Holder's not going to be stepping up, and really we've only seen 2 or 3 champions in the last couple of weeks for him. So does he have the Urgot? That's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we do actually know what is coming out from RNG, and that is Uzi. He's coming off the bench. There you go. They lose the game, and this is the trap card that they always bring out. It's like, okay, we will bring Karsa off of the bench. We will bring Uzi on to the starting roster. And now this will be an entirely different ball game for Rogue Warriors. Because I do agree with you. I don't think running that exact strategy right here is going to work every single time. Yeah. I think 10 out of 10 times you run up against that roster, this works from Rogue Warriors. Yeah, I don't think it works 10 out of 10. I think it works like 4 or 5 times out of 10 against this right here.
We do have to note the big difference between Karsa and MLXG is that Karsa is by far much more stable in the early game. He's much better at getting RNG early kills. So he averages around 3 kills at 15 minutes, while MLXG averages around 2. 50% more action coming out from this position. And more importantly, he has the champion pool to withstand the ban phase.
As you can see, we're not lying to you. It is Uzi coming in over Abel.
Uzi has been having a massive performance recently. We have seen a lot of great plays coming in from him, especially against the TOP series where he brought out the Xayah. Everyone, you have to remember that Xayah was not a big champion for Uzi in 2017, but in 2018, he has staked his name on this champion. Wastes 2 ultimates coming in from TOP, gets the double stun, and is still able to walk away with his life and even clean up the fight afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the X factor of Uzi at the end of the day. You know, you put him in a pressure situation, and yes, Abel can perform well, but Uzi just does it better. He does everything better right now compared to every AD carry in the world, every player in the world, and he will always deliver down in the marksman position, whether it's teamfight, whether it's a laning phase, which is what RNG desperately lack right now, and you can see it just in these teamfights, that Uzi is just an unstoppable force.
Yeah, the biggest difference here is that his laning phase stats are significantly better than Abel's, averaging over plus 13 CS at 15 minutes over his opponents. That's highest in the league. And has been for quite a long time. And it's just the extra focus that he brings to the RNG squad. They know where to go with their composition. And with Uzi on the squad, I feel like they would be more willing to play a front-to-back style rather than just putting all their eggs into the 1-3-1 basket.
And it will come down to fights. I mean, like, no matter how you slice it, you can be looking towards a 1-3-1. But at the end of the day, if you want to finish off Rogue Warriors, you're going to have to fight them at some point.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that ability to meet them toe-to-toe in a front-to-back fight, outside of creative pathing and creative ways into a fight, then you will need to bring some extra firepower. So we'll see if it's going to be a different type of setup for RNG, because so far for the last 2-3 weeks, we've only seen the Kai'Sa setup, really, from RNG. And teams are letting them have it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but the majority of the time it does. So last game we saw it even out from Abel. Now moving into this one from RNG, what does Uzi bring out? We're about to find out as we get into Champion Select number 2, Rogue Warriors with the lead.
Big champions here for RNG are definitely Gragas and Rise. I feel like those are the linchpins of their composition, but we see Rogue Warriors actually selecting blue side for themselves. Now, blue side does have a slightly lower win rate here in the LPL, but what you do get out of it is you force RNG to ban out a lot of things. The Aatrox and the Akali should be the big ones.
Yeah, we're going to have the Akali ban and a Rakan ban from RNG. Rogue Warriors removing the Camille, the Gragas, and the Varus. Looking towards the final ban now from RNG.
And that leaves the Kled.
It does, yeah. It does indeed. Rogue Warrior is going to be on a blue side right here, even though Predator is banned. I wouldn't be surprised if we see early rotation of Rise. I mean, Doinby is not necessarily a binary player, but you definitely can predict what he's going to go towards in the mid lane. Alistair going to be the first pick for Rogue Warriors.
Very interesting. Aatrox actually put on the sidelines. Now for RNG, they're still pretty willing to go with the Kai'Sa and the Tahm Kench. That's enough protection. And even though the Tahm Kench has been nerfed quite heavily on this patch, it doesn't really change that one team fight save for you. They're willing to still go with that.
Yep, RNG. I mean, Aatrox is still open if they want to. We saw that last game coming out from Let Me, and I mean, it was okay. It was good in fights, it was good in skirmishes, it was good in side lanes, but it still didn't net them a win.
So they did flash the Tahm Kench, but are looking for the Shen. The Shen actually has the highest win rate of the LPL playoffs so far. Strong early lane kill potential, and with the global potential as well, but going for the Rise.
Yep, Xiaohu, one of the strongest Rise we actually have in the playoffs right now. Him and Scout, who is actually now eliminated, but in the end, it will be the Tahm Kench lock-in.
So this does set up for a Kai'Sa composition, and Rogue Warriors could either choose to take Kai'Sa away, or just leave a counter pick for it. They do have the Tristana, and they do have things like the Misfortune that can punish really hard. But oh, this is going to be the first time that we see Urgot picked up by Mouse.
Yeah, there you go. He was actually laughing about it. Do not be deceived. The win rate is not 100% on one game. We've had lots of Urgot players, lots of Urgot games coming into the playoffs, and indeed at week 11 of the LPL, this will be our 5th unique player to pick up the Urgot, and he actually gets something that does some damage. That's why he's happy in the top lane. He's just not straight up on the tank on this one. There's the Rise, picked up by Doan. We just mentioned it heading into the draft, and RNG will get themselves the Taliyah.
Taliyah is actually an interesting one because it's not something that can aggressively go inside to the enemy team's jungle. It's much more about lane ganking. So I actually see this setup as being more focused towards the top side. You can try to punish Urgot. He's very vulnerable, has no mobility. But if you let him scale into the mid game without any pressure whatsoever, then he does become quite a nuisance in those team fights.
And take away the big hype picks out from Rogue Warriors. I mean, we're just talking about cleared it yesterday. Flawless today, the second Lee Sin god we have in the league. Remove that one from him. And the Kai'Sa. Now, this is the first time we're looking at actually a Rogue Warriors, or any team looking towards RNG as they come in with the setup for a hype carry in the bottom. It's like, okay, no Kai'Sa. You have to pick something else in the bottom lane. It's not going to be Varus. It's not going to be the Kai'Sa. It's also not going to be the Misfortune as RNG take it away.
Yeah, but that still leaves the Varus up for RNG. That's what they use to close out the game versus TOP. And you can already see the Misfortune ban as well. Now, Misfortune is a counter against the Varus for SMLZ. He plays it into that matchup quite often. So RNG definitely showing their hand a little bit and trying to go for the Varus, I would say.
Yeah, it'll be tough though, since it has been banned out by Rogue Warriors already, including the Xayah.
Sorry. So probably the Ezreal left.
That's true. It is Uzi at the end of the day, so Ezreal is always in that wheelhouse, but he can wait until that final pick to actually lock it in. And Rogue Warriors will have to bring in their bottom lane into completion on blue side. Galio pick up though from RNG towards Xiaohu.
For Rogue Warriors, they're still looking for their AD and their jungle position right here. Flawless has played the Xin Zhao. It is something that can challenge the Taliyah quite effectively. Just want a melee champion, just run at her face.
Yep, Rogue Warriors considering the AD carry right now, and Jhin, still something that we completely neglected to think about right here, will be locked in for SMLZ. Currently 40% win rate over the LPL on that pick, but we're seeing more and more with the Hell of Blades coming into the meta, and it will be Olaf in the end for Flawless. So we'll be able to get some priority in the top lane and also the bottom lane. Great in those long lanes.
And Jhin is such a SMLZ special. He's pretty much the only one playing it so far in the past few weeks. And I actually like the composition right here because you look at the enemy squad, it's most likely going to be just probably 2 tanks in the front. You're not going to have that third frontliner, so a lot more targets for SMLZ to really focus on.
Oh, and he just straight up locks it in. Okay, no hesitation. There's the Bane out from Uzi. You take away all of the other picks. You're going to force me onto it. I'll just do it. Really just laying down the gauntlet, Uzi.
I have to say, this isn't the greatest composition to run a Vayne against. Does have a weak laning phase, and you're also looking at the Rise that can instantly stun her, as well as the Alistar. The last time Uzi did bring the Vayne out, he was demolished in the laning phase. But this is what he goes to. When all the chips are on the table, he does turn toward Vayne. a lot of stakes on the table for such a weak laning champion to be selected.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different champions in this game. Getting to see the Jhin come back out here, the Urgot into the top lane now for Mouse, mid lane Galio, and also the Aatrox getting to see more and more of that actually sneak out of the first phase of bans. And yeah, I mean, he's just got to have a bit of giggle about that one.
Yeah, he's definitely having a jolly good old laugh with Heart. I can't believe you actually went back to the Vayne. Definitely not a meta pick. We haven't seen it in a very long time. In fact, Uzi was the only one to pick it in the LPL this split.
I mean, it's crunch time right here for RNG.
Is it really?
It absolutely is, Clement. Game 1 goes over to Rogue Warriors. We're in semi-finals right now. If they win right here, RNG will lock themselves into Worlds. If you want to get a series win at any time in the LPL, it's right now.
My point is, I don't think you do yourself any favors by taking the Vayne. Like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with the Vayne, and from what we've seen from the laning phase, it's very difficult to actually make it work. Also, the Tahm Kench, the cooldown drastically increased. So if you use it the first time, you're basically throwing a signal towards the enemy jungle to gank.
Now, Clement, I know that you've been here for around a year now in the LPL.
Yep.
Sometimes you just gotta have faith. You've got to have faith in these historic picks out from these historic players. You look towards Cliff, he locks in the Evelyn. You've just got to go for a trust fall. They're going to go for a trust fall. I, as a caster right now, going to go for a trust fall. It's going to work out.
Hey man, I'm ready for the hype. I'm ready for the unbelievable plays that are about to come out from Uzi. But my analytical brain, there's a lot of fear in there.
Believe in your heart. Believe in the heart.
For Uzi and RNG. Can he actually make it work on his signature
Put
champion?
the brain on autopilot, Clement. Shut it away. Because we're going to get into game number 2 here in Beijing between Rogue Warriors and RNG.
Going to be a flash.
It has to be, yeah. They're still going to chase him, though. Flawless with the flash after. They're looking for the kill right now. Has to dodge out of the axe. Here comes Karsa out from the jungle, but that's first blood to Olaf.
Very unfortunate situation. 2 flashes expended right here.
Urgot came in from the bottom side, completely closing the rounds in, plus the Rune Prison. 2 flashes down. Rogue Warriors take the advantage.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that Flawless was able to land his first axe. I mean, Let Me should have had vision of him coming in towards the brush, but he still lands it anyway and gets the first blood there. This is going to be a repeat game, because if you look at Mouse in the top lane, he still has his flash up.
Yeah, he's still good in this top lane. Has the rise. Wait a minute. Okay, there's more to talk about this one.
Oh, so it is the Rune Prison coming in from Mouse first, but I'm still kind of surprised that Let Me was in range for that to happen. So I wanted to see a little bit more of what happened before the play. It wasn't a pincer move coming from Rogue Warriors. They actually just walked up through the river.
Now, Clement, we've been bamboozled, and at the very least me, because Urgot's in the mid lane here for Doinby. And now this doesn't surprise me in the slightest, that Doinby would be the one to pick up Urgot, but they swap at the last second. Here comes Carson to the bottom side. Flash out from SMLZ, getting chased down right now. Kaloa trying to get in front of him. He's still bleeding out from the burn. He's going to be okay, but he's on critical HP.
Double Summoners already burned from SMLZ. They're definitely looking after Uzi's laning phase. They know that Vayne is going to have a hard time there.
They go Flawless into the jungle. Chaohu's just going to turn the corner, spot him, try and take away as many of these as possible. Only takes 1 though, charge up the taunt and walks back towards the mid lane. Flawless getting a lot now in the top jungle. That is just straight up his.
He's going to get stopped once more, but it doesn't matter. He always has a level lead, and that should be a pretty difficult matchup for the Galio. A lot of range harass is going to come out from Urgot, and it's all physical.
Karsa, once again, looking towards this bot side. SMLZ out of potions, down to 50% HP, tossing out the pebbles. Teleport coming down, trying to shut them out. Double teleports out from Rogue Warriors completed. And now RNG will look to back away. Karsa trying to get an escape into the jungle, but he's being chased out right here. Flawless pushing him back, and that's going to Q down from Doinby and the kill.
And Karsa is so far behind in the jungle tempo. He's still level 2. Tried to gank twice, but he was sitting on a ward the entire time. So a very easy counterplay coming in from Rogue Warriors.
Another kill, 2-0 to start off this game. They're coming in hard, they're coming in fast in these skirmishes, in these catches. 1 kill over to the jungle, 1 kill into the mid lane. We're going to talk about the fact that we have mid lane Urgot. Now, we just saw this yesterday, in fact, out of the LCK finals happening at the same time as our EDG and JD set. And it's just like, Who in the LPL could possibly bring an Urgot to our mid lane? Well, thankfully, we have Doinby.
Definitely. I've been having a bit of discussions with the Chinese caster on what they think about the Urgot, and it's mainly been a tank with a lot of upside. You always are going to win your laning phase, and in the team fights, you actually can have the potential to do a lot of damage just with your execution abilities.
Oh, Uzi getting trapped in place there from the flourish from SMLZ. I mean, yeah, a lot has been nerfed around him, and his legs still do a lot of damage, getting up to 8% base of maximum health damage, 2.5 seconds in a team fight, very strong. And you can play front to back as well. You know, you chunk down a tank, you look towards, in this composition, someone like Zhao who on the Galio, or you look towards the Aatrox, drag him into a team fight. Yeah, it's not going to straight up kill him, but now he's with you and not with the enemy team. Another gang into the bottom lane, third time's the charm perhaps. SMLZ getting chased out here, but he's spat out once again, looking for the flick. He's not dead, finally goes down. Uzi traded.
But Uzi falls down as well, so they're not going to actually get much of this CS lead here. Unfortunately, he did have to trade his life just for the damage going in. That was a great play from Kahlua. It stopped Karsa from using the flick for so long that they actually couldn't follow up with enough damage.
There's so much action happening in this early game, and it's primarily coming out of these junglers. Again, another gang coming in. Great knock-up out from Kahlua.
Yeah, and the flash instantly goes down onto Uzi. The stun in as well from Kahlua. Already was popping the E, the trample. Was ready just to stun him underneath tower.
Frankly, a little too close for comfort right there. Had to be the auto attack at just the very end from Karsa to finally finish him off.
And we're seeing a double fairy charm being built up by SMLZ just for the mana sustain.
Oh, Flaw's getting caught in the jungle, but right behind him, here comes Doinby, finds the flip on the disdain, chases him down, Doinby gets the kill. Zhao who's stepping up, he wants to kill, flashes forwards, comes in with the Colossal Smash, we'll get it with the Winds of War. Ming right behind him, and Let Me turning up to the fight as well, teleports in, but locked down in that room prison. Mouse right there where he needs to be.
And they trade the kills back, but unfortunately for Karsa, it's still a very, very dire situation. If you look at the boots from Olaf, he's already at 2 boots with Predator, so if he goes into the jungle, he can always repeat that play. He's always going to be able to find Karsa and chase him down.
And Dobby right here into this mid lane. I see a lot of upsides for this Urgot pick. I feel like it's great into the Galio. All of the CC, he can disdain through it. Disdain has one of the highest priorities in the game of any ability. We went into the test room. We tried it against many different things. Warwick, we tried it against Jay's E. He overrides almost everything, including teleports and blinks. Kahlua into the bottom lane. Going to be getting this knock-up onto Karsa, but here comes Death on all 6. Doesn't quite find Fear Beyond Death execute, but in comes Zhao from the skies, gets the kill. Returned though by the Alistar. Ming backing away, but Doinby's fast. He's got this Ghost chasing them down. Looking for the stain, not quite in range. Great taunt out from Xiaohu. Doinby's still chasing after though. He wants to try and get in on this one.
That will be the 3rd death onto Karsa. They are still going to keep the jungler down for quite a while. Already a 2-level difference in that single position. You know, Karsa tried to save his bot lane, try to give this matchup a bit of breathing room, but unfortunately, he's now the one getting pincered very, very hard. It was a great rotation coming in from Doinby. I don't think the teleport was fast enough in this position. And just look at Flawless as he goes up the ramp straight towards Karsa. They only trade the support for this.
Yeah, Flawless gets the kill on the other side of the wall. Ming steps up, forces the flash. From here on out, they're able to make the successful evacuation. But if Urgot was just a little bit faster and found a flip, it would have been another one for them. But still, Rogue is striking very hard, very fast in this early game. 5 kills to 3 so far. Have the lead in terms of gold. 2 of those kills also on the mid lane. This is one of the first times I'm getting to see an Urgot fly this far ahead in the early game.
Great laning phase for him, great level 1. There is no jungle pressure, and Urgot is one of those picks is that if you can't kill him with jungle pressure, he's just free to do anything he wants.
Incredible accuracy coming out there from SMLZ.
He does tag 1.
Yeah, more specifically, good fancy footwork there from Uzi. Just back and forth dodges out all of those shots out there from SMLZ. Into this bottom lane, relatively even farm despite the amount of action that's involved the bottom side of the map. You know, we were talking about how this is not going to be a comfortable laning phase for a Vayne, but still comes out at 8 minutes into this one, relatively even.
And he's not really the one paying his price in this matchup, so.
That's true.
Yep, still fine. But Rogue Warriors, they're at the point where I feel like they can just force play straight up in the bot lane. Like, Flawless is really that far ahead. He already has his phage done. So once the ultimate comes up into the bot lane for SMLZ, they have the current call, they can just run straight in and probably take Uzi's life.
Glue up, popping the wall. Just walking back in towards this bottom lane here. And keep this minion wave at base. Now we're now looking towards this mid part of the game. Rogue Warriors, they've been stepping up in the early parts. They had that early game. I feel like there was a very necessary action from Rogue Warriors. When you have Uzi right here, you know that he's going to have a laning phase for himself. You look towards Karsa, and he's going to be able to shut out a lot from Flawless. So by getting this early game, very important, having to snowball this actually how the top lane play went. You know, I think that was a bit of a gimme there from Rogue Warriors. But again, it takes a team who can catch a throw, and that was definitely one from Lemmy.
Yep, definitely a really unfortunate level 1. I feel like the lane swap also hurt their strategy quite a bit.
Mouse getting caught out though. This is the Infernal Chains, and that's going to be straight up Ming just turning up there. Gives him a late. That's going to be an instant kill down onto Mouse.
And this is just classical RNG. When they can't survive the laning phase, you know what? Just lane swap. And if you're lucky enough, you can't get one of these early kills. One of the big things that we were really worried about for RNG is the support champion pool coming in for Ming. Rakan nerf, Tom Kench nerf. He says he's fine with it. He can live with it and still do great plays like this.
Gonna be a play onto the bottom side though. Instant rotation onto the tower. Rogue Warriors will drop this one. And we'll get first tower of the game despite the kill going over to RNG. They're gonna prioritize the Herald with the minion wave out of place. And maybe look towards the top tower after this. Probably gonna force the recall though from Rogue Warriors. Otherwise this will be a double tower take if no one decides to respond. Early teleport coming out from Doinby. Here's his own teleport in fact to move back towards the lane though. And it will be mid lane. So again, still no rotation from Rogue Warriors.
You can see Doinby was definitely mindful that the possibility of Herald going straight out down to mid lane. So chooses to teleport himself back into mid. Do like that play quite a lot. They don't actually have the split pushing position in the top side, so there's not actually a lot of value of taking down the second bot lane tower. Instead, they're just going to prioritize defending their own mid.
Now, it's at this point where Rogue Warriors are ahead in gold, they're ahead in towers, they're ahead in dragon, where I have to say that, remember folks, RNG essentially decided to sack game 1. They brought Abel, they brought MXG onto the roster, they lose it. Okay, makes sense. But this is semi-finals right now, and Rogue Warriors have the 1-game lead, they have the advantage in game 2. If this comes to a 2-0 and we're put on match point, we saw exactly what happened to EDG yesterday. They were shut out. If we had both of our long-time finalists shut out before we even get to finals, that would be history written right here.
Yeah, you would say, who are the spring finalists of the spring split? It wasn't RNG, it wasn't EDG, where are they? That would be what happened if RNG actually drop out here. We wouldn't have anyone from the finals there. And
EDG are gone already.
Yeah, RNG, they're just taking massive risks with this composition. And for me, they're a team that can't come back for a 0-2. This is absolutely a must-win for them.
And so far, it's still Rogue Warriors who are making the aggressive plays. They're stepping up to the top side. And there's a ward right here. Bottom though, Tullia setting up the wall. Jumping over this one, Mouse already trying to make the escape. The flick doesn't land, but the knockup does out from Lemmy. Lots of damage coming through. Mouse is not used to playing these squishy champions.
If and let me, they're going to open up the long lane in the bot side. Try to get him a little bit more breathing room. Now, this is the traditional weakness of Rogue Warriors. If you can split them apart, not allow them to group up for those freight trains, they tend to have a lot of difficulty in executing their own strategies.
This is going to be a second charge coming in from Shelly right here. Chunks it down to half. This will be straight up gone. What could Rogue Warriors take on the opposite side of the map, though? Because it's being defended by the bottom lane from RNG. That tower's not going to drop. And RNG take a massive amount from that play. A kill. 2 towers.
There might even be a third charge, but okay. Is he going to get it?
Doesn't open up the eye. It's going to be a third charge coming through onto the inhibitor tower. Massive push out there from RNG.
Yeah, and that just gives Let Me so much pressure to actually roam towards the mid lane and try to influence that Urgot matchup. So really good defensive play here, and this is what I was talking about with the early Tullia pick. It's not a pick that you can find things just going into the enemy jungle, but it is a pick that is very effective in shutting down side lanes, and that really is the idea behind Karsa.
Doinby though, mid lane undefended. Gonna pop Purge right there. Drop it down to around half. Purge. Until you have over 1 attack speed, it's more efficient to pop Purge when you're taking down towers than it is anything else. Currently at 0.8, I believe, at this point in the game, Urgot.
It's always great to have our Urgot master right here.
The small tricks, man. It's every little counts. Force comes in from the backside. just there to back up Doinby in case anything happens. But this Urgot, pretty big. 14 minutes into the game, 2-0-1, has the Black Cleaver completed already. Actually went for the stopwatch out of runes as well.
Yeah, I'm just worrying about the team fights. If he does get an execute off, the fear range is actually incredibly large. He could accidentally hit Uzi just in the moment. So, you know, there's so many tools that Rogue Warriors really have to eye down Uzi. I feel like he really needs quite a sizable advantage before they go into that big 5v5 team fight phase to come out ahead.
Now, we actually haven't seen a lot of Urgots come out of lane significantly far ahead. Even they come out even or behind typically. We see a lot of people, the adaptations coming out yesterday from JD was massive. Uzi getting logged down. I mean, the setup there from SMLZ. In comes the defense, but Kahlua, the Ignite comes down. He's going to tick out for this one, and Flawless once more. He's cutting off the minion wave, trying to find the evacuation. No one there to stop him. They saw the Abyssal Void happen in front of them, and Ming just takes them away to safety.
That could have been stopped by just an axe or an undertow, but didn't happen. Fortunately enough, RNG to run away.
Oh, in fog of war, RNG jump out, surprise Flawless. They'll take him out and stop this push from happening. In comes Karsa. He's trying to follow through, but instant taunt comes through. SMLZ gets blasted, and so does the support.
And Rogue Warriors get a taste of their own medicine. A surprise turnaround from RNG after they lost Uzi. Flawless didn't expect that.
I think that was one of the times where I look at RW and saying, why are you setting up? In any other scenario, they would just rush the tower, you know?
Yeah.
And it was actually them getting caught up in their own setup because RNG were just like, well, I guess we'll just leave. Ming just brings his ally to safety and everyone recollapses onto the play. Doinby into the mid lane though, chasing down Uzi. Infernal Chains are on, drags it back towards Let Me, getting kited for days. The eternal Urgot problem. Kill over to Uzi.
Great roam from Let Me to cut that path off as well. You could see the chase potential coming out from the Urgot, however, in that play though. With the Unsealed Spellbook, you get the exhaust, you can walk people down quite easily, and your ultimate also does slow.
And Flawless, he's literally just chilling with the minion wave. He's having a conversation, he's saying, how you going, guys? And literally, too easy from RNG. Out of Fog of War, find a flick back, flash forwards, and everyone just launches themselves onto that dual lane.
And honestly, the big reason for that play was actually but the action
Kahlua
right
caught
away.
out, and he's just straight up dead. The cow is instantly down. I mean, Karsa is getting so much work done.
Yep. In the previous play, what really happened was Doinby walked over a ward in the river. RNG knew that the Urgot wasn't around the area. They were instantly going all in. So a little bit of a miscommunication between the Rogue Warrior members. They probably should have backed with Doinby going to another lane.
Either back or go in. But there was not necessarily hesitation, but there was just a pause on the play where they just all stood there waiting for the minion wave to crash, waiting to just siege the tower. But weren't really thinking about the rest of it. Uzi, while all this has been happening, has been the beneficiary. He's picked up a bunch of farm, managed to catch up. He's got a kill under his belt now as well, and picked up the Blade of the Ruin King. We're cresting the point in the game where we're moving towards mid-game, and the Vayne is not shut out, and that just signals the alarm bells, honestly, from Rogue Warriors.
When it all comes down to it, Uzi still goes back to his Vayne. That's always been a crowd pleaser. There's so many times where he shows a Vayne but then doesn't pick it. And I'm just surprised that he's still willing to do it in this meta. They do have the protection set up for him, but it's still going to be a very tall task.
Yeah, total amount of fan votes coming out there on the bottom of your screen. Uzi's only been playing in the set for 17 minutes, and he has almost 50% of the total votes. Definitely expected. You heard Beijing go absolutely wild for RNG, managing to win that last skirmish, that last fight, gain advantage in this game, and for the first time in the set, take the gold lead. Top lane going to be falling, going to be exacerbating this problem. Dragon did go over to Rogue Warriors, but RNG set up to succeed, set up to punch back in this series.
Yeah, and what I want to see out of Rogue Warriors is for them to try to use the current call and actually set up a big freight train fight. The 5v5 that they're always looking for. And they actually have a lot of tools to do it. They could realm warp the Urgot into the backline directly, and that would set up such a strong position for them. But if they let this game just go on as is, I feel like they're giving way too much room for Uzi to just scale up.
But frankly, it might already be at that point. I mean, Uzi's managed to get out of laning phase. It's free farming in the mid lane. Everyone's just literally just force-feeding Uzi farm, and Rogue Warriors aren't doing anything really to contest this. Yes, they can play front to back. They've got that Urgot in there now. They've also got the Jhin to lay down covering fire. But Doinby, while he's building towards his righteous glory, I'm looking for ways to actually get on top of this Vayne now. And if he's just sat at the back of a fight, Flawless is going to gun towards him, but there's so much damage, so much in front of them. Like this Gallo, who's actually just pushing him away from the red buff single-handedly. I don't think he survives the run to the backline.
You're probably right, but Rogue Warriors, they have to find something on the map. And just look at their bot side currently. That's so much time that Let Me actually has to roam. RNG going for it.
Double rotation as the Abyssal Void and the wall coming up here. Flawless already running away from the play, and everyone's collapsing on top of Doinby. He cuts vision in the 1 versus 3. He's taunted. He's knocked back. He's knocked back again. He just can't catch a break.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors can't really deal with the RNG split pushing currently. There's just... They need to group up and be the ones that really force the fights. But they need to do it in a concerted effort. Try to get some slow pushes on these waves. Try to get a slow push on your side of the map, and then rotate and try to force something. I feel like that's their only move right now. If they continue to let RNG just split them up, this is going to happen over and over again. There's no way Urgot survives any of these catches.
I mean, this is what we wanted to see from RNG. Split up RW before they can get together, before they can even reach those skirmishes. Pulled in, knocked back. I mean, he just could not move. He couldn't do anything in that fight at all. But this is how you've got to do it. This is how you've got to keep it up. I want to see more objectives now picked up by RNG, though, because we are equal in towers. We have the gold advantage, yes, but turn these into something tangible, because Rogue Warriors, if they do get towards mid-game, we've seen it a million times by this point. In those Baron setups, in that mid-game, they will somehow just find a fight for themselves. But the re-engage, there it is. Kahlua jumping on towards Uzi. The Devour's down for another 20 seconds now as Doimi's pushing forwards. Teleport coming down from Rogue Warriors. And RNG are set if they want to go for this fight. It's been paused out by Mouse, though.
Now, this is a good situation for Rogue Warriors. They're looking to extend and then go back in onto the fight. They do want the big 5v5s currently. It was a good double knock-up coming in from Kahlua. But unfortunately, the slow did not land from Doinby, so the play does fizzle a bit, but this is exactly what they're looking for.
It is indeed. Mouse, though, cancelled his teleport, will be up sooner, but Let Me here still has his full teleport. He can move to that side lane. Xiaohu's about to get his own as well. And Doinby still sat on his, but teleport advantage, cross-map advantage over to RNG, and that's exactly what they need, exactly what they want. They can keep splitting up Rogue Warriors and have priority when they do so.
We've seen this play a million times just in the top lane. Another catch for Doinby. You can see how careful Doinby is actually approaching these waves right now. He isn't willing to venture across river. The multiple globals right here, 3 semi-globals on RNG's composition before the teleports even come into effect.
I mean, he's right to do so. There are literally 2 people setting up the brush right next to him. They were ready to pounce on his face again if he pushes up past that river. And it's very reminiscent, actually, of Game 1 from Rogue Warriors on red side, where they're able to instantly react to these plays. But this time, there is a monster in an AD carry of Vayne. Hardly ever get to see it. Here comes the wall coming across. Instant flash out from SMLZ. Kahlua pushed up against the wall with the ultimate running. Knocked back and taunted and locked down. So he'll flash away. Here comes Doinby on 6 legs. Very quick into the fight. Locks down Ming. He'll go down. SMLZ with the kill right there. But he's being sliced and diced up by Let Me. Here comes the curtain call. First, second lands. Third onto Karsa. Fourth onto the retreating Xiaohu.
Great come in from Doinby, pops the Righteous Glory and goes straight for Ming. Not even able to use his flash to get out of the situation. Now that was a great setup from RNG. I really like the idea right there, but even better collapse coming in from Doinby.
Just the 1 kill in the end over to Ming. Lots of damage coming in for a very aggressive build out from Let Me. Went for the first item, Ghostblade, into Black Cleaver. There's the setup once again. SMLZ low, and he's just swept under the rug right there. Karsa, instant kill.
The Mouse is still going in for him.
He wants it. He's rushing him down. It was only Kahlua right there, but in comes Xiaohu and Let Me up to the party. Comes in for Q2 and Q3. Doesn't quite connect onto Rogue Warriors, but a kill in return. And this one onto the AD carry.
And oh boy, is this ARAM just really heating up. The multiple globals from RNG making sure they're always replenished. And this time around, RNG, they just feel so ferocious. They're never letting the action stop. You got us the first time? That's fine. We're going to wait around in the brushes just for you to make a misstep and try to punish them. A lot more wiggle plays coming out from RNG just to find their advantages.
But this is when the game is on an absolute knife's edge. You know, at 23 minutes, we're firmly in the mid game. Baron has spawned. We're going to be looking towards major objectives. And this is actually when Rogue Warriors are strong, when they can actually just challenge you in the 5v5s, on the 4-on-4s, in those big fights. RNG, very similar thing. They'll look towards looking for this front back, specifically with another Uzi composition that's based around him, with his Tamken alongside of it, will come down to these fights.
And the Rogue Warriors are looking into collapse. They do know all the positions of RNG. And Galio's still a bit far away from the fight. Does look like RNG will give this one up.
It's just a cloud in the end. Rogue Warriors now with 2 though, so the rotations will speed up.
That's
especially for someone like Urgot, someone for the Alistair as well, who's trying to get in range for those initial beatdowns. Xiaohu over that wall. He's going to be all right. Luckily, Urgot can't make it over walls. He's a little bit too clunky for that, but RNG were in this big old stare down in the mid lane.
Both sides are trying to push in the mid lane and get themselves access towards the Baron pit, but Rogue Warriors are not willing to relinquish that. Just continuously stepping up to RNG's challenges.
Players aside, Clement, right now in this game, 5-on-5, which composition wins?
I actually kind of favor Rogue Warriors comp, to be honest.
Well, we're about to find out, because here comes Let Me. Xiaohu from the sidelines. SMLZ is already dead. The AD carries down. Kahlua kiting backwards. And Olaf, he's on the retreat. He doesn't want that Ragnarok to go in at all. Doinby drags in the top laner, but he's able to crawl back to his team. 2 kills to RNG.
Yeah, the execution does not go through the GA, and they're unable to find any kills back. The first, I believe it was a flick coming in from Karsa, but it did look like SMLZ was instantly stunned. Just taken out of the fight completely.
The setup was there from RNG. The wall came across, beating out the round warp. RW stepping up, 3 members remaining, flawless, has flash over the wall, 7,000 HP remaining. RNG probably looking for the right now, and RW, they're on the wrong side of town as Uzi is leading the charge. Abyssal Void looking to cut them off with that taunt charged up from Xiaohu. Top side, Rogue Warriors looking to escape. Karsa pops. Ghostblade being popped there by Let Me try to chase after Doinby, but he's surprisingly faster than Urgot, and everyone will get out.
That was a good Q slow coming out from him. I didn't think they would be able to escape that. But a good ring around the rosy does get them out of the situation. Let's watch how SMLZ was actually caught. It does look like the condemn onto the wall from Talia. And honestly, who would think of that combination? That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and again, the one target that was low was also Karsa, but the one in execute range with the Aatrox, they still have Blood Well up, so he's calling back to the team. He's okay. 2 kills, RNG. Don't lock down the Baron. Well played to Rogue Warriors on the backside of that to stymie that one out. But still, these team fights, literally just before it started, you're like, I'm going to give this over to Rogue Warriors. Not if the AD carry gets sniped at the start.
Man, and RNG, they really are the masters of finding these sudden collapses in team fights, especially in the mid lane. Like, how many people would expect that combination? There's no way for Rogue Warriors to actually stop the wall from coming in, and the immediate follow-up for Uzi. They were waiting there just in preparation to get that play.
Frankly, if there's if you're asking me any player in the LPL or any team in the LPL, probably Rogue Warriors, because they're the team that does that all day long as they look for their own fight in the mid lane. Floss has to flash away, and the flank coming in from Let Me is massive. 3-man knock back, and Rogue Warriors will have to pop that ultimate on the Alistair to try and escape from this one.
If RNG's frontline can't really take the punishment from Rogue Warriors, so they do have to back up even after landing the Infernal Chain as well. And we could see Rogue Warriors actually taking position after that fight.
Now pushing up into the mid lane, throwing out skill shots. Uzi here with his support, trying to knock down this mini wave as fast as possible. Karsa over this wall, looking for the flick. Lands onto Doinby as he's trying to stay away. But the tower, critical HP right now. Everyone locked into this one. Kahlua, he's going to be manning up the back. It will be okay. Uzi needs to make sure he's not too far forward, but a master at positioning. Top lane, though, Xiaohu's actually just by himself. It was a 4 versus 5 defense from RNG.
Yeah, the key question right there was who would Xiaohu be able to follow up onto with the hero's entrance? I think the main target he would be looking for is Let Me, but he can't really go in without the World's Ender. So that's probably going to be the next big combo piece that we're going to see from them. Just an engage from Let Me, he has a flash, go in onto SMLZ, follow it up with Hero's Entrance, and then the front line would collapse and allow Uzi to chase them all down.
And frankly, you know, a question I would ask at this point is, what is it going to open up around if we're waiting for a fight? Apparently it's just opening up in mid lane. Anyone sees anyone, even without a step, in the wrong direction, they'll still try and launch themselves on their opponent. We saw that out of RNG. We saw that just out of Rogue Warriors, trying to just collapse before people can get back together. But didn't quite work out there. And now we're back to equilibrium for both teams, farming up their sides of the map, looking towards the next item power spikes. Triple items picked up on both sides for the AD carries. Actually, a little bit further behind Uzi because he did opt towards that QSS.
Yeah, it does need ways to get away from the Alistar. I think that's the big one. Or the Rune Prison as well. And I think this game has been going so much into an ARAN fashion. Neither side is confident about going into the side lanes. They know the collapse speed from both teams is incredibly fast. The Realm Lord could come in. There is a potential teleport on the Urgot as well. So both sides are content to kind of stick it towards the mid. Karsa might need to blow his flash here.
Flawless against the edge of the pit, but he managed to just push Flawless away with help of Baron right there. Knocks him down to half, so not even needed. And Ming will be his flash, so he'll wait over the wall. The getaway driver. Very important matchup for RNG. As you said, this feels like a must-win for them. If they go down 0-2 against Rogue Warriors, of all teams, one of the most dominant teams in the LPL right now, I don't see them looking for a reverse sweep. And against very few teams right now in the top echelon of teams in the LPL, do I see a reverse sweep even happening?
Yeah, it's so hard to actually complete. Rogue Warriors, if they win here, they aren't automatically going to Worlds. There's still a chance for RNG to then overtake them with points. But it'll be a lot closer.
Just the fact that RNG would not secure Worlds coming out of the semifinals would be massive. Ming stepping forwards, instant flash coming out from him. But another flash coming out from Kalua. He locks him down. Deadly Flourish off the backside. Xiaohu, the rest of RNG trying to react to this one. Here his entrance comes in. Triple lockdown. Managed to find Joinby. He's knocked back and he's sent all the way to the backside of his team. Xiaohu pushing forward once again. Here comes the Talia wall and they are committing to it despite Uzi trying to chase him down. He does not want to go towards this one. He managed to take down Flawless, puts him into the ground, and the rest of the team crumbles around him. Mouth, the only member remaining, forces Karsa into his perfect timing. But triple out from Let Me.
And Let Me with a great flank. RNG lost one member off of the initial team fight, but they were able to draw Doinby into a really poor position. He took 75% of his HP before even popping the Gargoyle's Stone Plate, and then Karsa closed the trap. You're going nowhere, Rogue Warriors. Let Me around the flank, goes around the red buff, and then picks up a triple kill for himself. That was absolutely masterful collapse from RNG from 3 different positions.
And that was a 4 versus 5 on the back end of that fight. They get the immediate pick for Rogue Warriors. They were feeling good about this one onto the Tam Kench. No protection for the Vayne, but the protection was there in the form of a bottleneck. Look at this Olaf trying to chase towards Vayne. Just couldn't find any purchase.
And that's just the miracle team fighting prowess of RNG. Look at Doinby's position. He's stunned. He can't put the Gargoyle Stone Plate up and doesn't have enough HP to fight. They're looking to turn this around, but Karsa says, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here in the red buff, and you have to fight with me. Not enough damage being able to be found onto Uzi before he cleans up the entire front line.
Essentially, everyone won their respective fights out there from Rogue Warriors. There was like 3 separate fights going on. Uzi, then in the pit itself with Mouse, and then topside with a flash coming in from Let Me trying to get over the wall. Karsa, he was just trying to farm his jungle.
It's no quarter for Flawless. They're going to push on. Rogue Warriors are probably going to have to give up this tower. Look at the bot lane as well. Let Me already setting up a very deep dive.
The minions are down though, and Doinby is keeping up the side, preventing Karsa from coming in for another flank. But while it was a shaky start for the man, he's absolutely just paid it all back. Constant picks, constant skirmishes, fantastic walls in these team fights midway, all to set him up, just keeping Rogue Warriors into a fight that they do not want. Karsa again sitting on a flank with Let Me. This duo over and over and over again. Xiaohu off in a side lane, the split push Galio. It's all coming up RNG.
Yeah, the ultimate is still there for Galio. He can enter the fight at a moment's notice. And I just want to say, RNG, they understand the dynamics of team fighting so well. The way you want to fight with a Vayne is to break up the enemy front line into separate little pieces so they can't focus you down all at once. You're basically making it a solo fight on 3 different fronts. And in that type of situation, Vayne reigns supreme.
Great condemn there onto Doinby as well as he's Righteous Glorying forwards. And really, the last line of defense is going to be the inhibitor towers, but in the bot lane, Lemmy's already almost taken his. And RNG, they'll get a lot off the remaining Baron buff, another 90 seconds to go. Team all recalling here from Rogue Warriors, pretty much giving up the mid lane. We'll be trying to make the double down defense onto the inhibitor in the mid lane. Bot tower is also just falling. So RNG, they have access into the inhibitor if they all want to just rotate towards the bottom lane now.
All right, Karsa is setting up a wall, trapping the mid. They do still have the Baron up for quite a long time, so...
Yeah, only 2 on the right side there, but they do manage to wait this one out, Rogue Warriors, and the bottom side slowly being seized away, though. Someone has to deal with this Aatrox at all times, otherwise he will just take that inhibitor. And it's being pulled left and right here from Rogue Warriors.
Ooh.
It's a lot of damage, though, out from SMLZ. This team still hurts.
And that wasn't even a 4th shot.
Heroic entrance into the bottom lane, supporting Let Me, chasing down Doinby, goes into the gargoyles, off to the side. Kalua looking for the flank as well, but we're looking at Uzi. He's untouched as he pushes forward. The Infernal Chains comes down, drags back in Doinby into the fight. Q3 is big. Uzi gets his first, looks towards the second. Massive taunt coming through from Xiaohu, and it's just lights out here from Rogue Warriors. Nice return double out from Mouse, though, and in the 1 versus 2. Karsa, he's the only damage remaining. Managed to take him from the maelstrom of damage that was Rise.
And hero play coming in from Mouse. The extra damage on the spread, the flux spread, was able to take down RNG, who are surging forward. He manages to get the spell damage onto Uzi with flash, with heal. That was a miraculous save. If he didn't get all of his damage output out right there, that would have been lights out for Rogue Warriors.
I mean, clutch there from Mouse. You typically think of him as the tank player, but on the carry, saves it at the final hour.
And the start of this fight actually looked really good for RNG because no one was able to even touch Uzi. No one was even attempting to dive. They were trying to move backwards away from the firestorm given by RNG.
And front to back, but we have to pay attention to Rise. I wasn't looking, and certainly RNG were not looking either. Let Me low.
Ooh,
he falls.
The AoE spread. That was one
There
spread
is
right there,
here.
a second, a third.
Yeah, Spell Flux into Overload. Ridiculous damage coming out from that Rise. The setup was there in the first half, and no one's looking.
Everyone thought the game was over. They were chasing into it. Everyone forgets about Mouse.
Yeah. I mean, look at his damage at the end of the fight. It was all burst at the very end of the fight. That wasn't the consistent damage. Consistent damage is coming in from SMLZ to soften them up.
25 stacks already acquired on Karsa.
That's a
Absolutely
ballsy
massive
pickup, by
damage.
the way, after the early game. He was like 1-3, and he was like, now's a good time to pick up Soul Stealer. Yes, it's worked out now that he's 7-3 and 15, and he hasn't died since then, but...
When your second death
making that
comes at level
play.
2, and you still go for Magi Soul Stealer.
And again, it paid off. It worked out for RNG. They had the confidence that it would work out from there. 8,000 gold lead. Base has been cracked open. But there's still fight left in Rogue Warriors, and with Baron spawning just under 2 minutes, Elder under 90 seconds on that spawn, there is still a shot, maybe even 2 shots, for Rogue Warriors.
You're going to have to find a situation where they can be the one aggressing onto the enemy team. And the most important part about the team fight is that they need someone to focus their eyes on Uzi. He's been getting away with the damage so far. The front line always collapsing for Rogue Warriors.
And unless you're killing him on the backside of a fight, it's so very difficult to even get to Uzi in the first place, especially if you're playing into the jungle. He's going to play around those choke points. We saw it in the top side in that red buff fight. Even in that one, it was essentially a miracle. You called it. It was a miracle coming out from us to even find that kill, because Uzi was pushing up onto the front side, because he thought that was just lights out. That was game right there. We just finished it off. But to actually take him out when you have Floss at this stage of the game, he will not make it to the backline. Doinby will not make it to the backline outside of a flank coming in from Rogue Warriors.
It does feel like Rogue Warriors are running thin on options. Both of the Elder Drake and Baron are about to spawn. So I feel like RNG, with the bot inhibitor already down, they should just focus onto the Baron first. Then try to make a clean rotation for Elder. They could take both.
And RNG, it's just that special sauce. When you get into those team fights, when you get into these situations in mid-game, even out of laning phase, that you just get from this core roster. Let Me, though, once again, caught on the split push, getting chased down, put into the flourish. Flash of the way, Kalua from the side looking for the knock-up, and he's dragged all the way to Urgot. dragged away from his friend of Galu, who's chasing down SMLZ, and now he's rejoined the team. Floors separated from his. Xiaohu buying some time, getting chased out, and the percent damage is big coming out of Rogue Warriors. That'll be a kill. Opening up the curtain call. Joinby already in the midst of the fight. Uzi kiting back. Karsa got in this one. Save out from Ming. The recall coming in from Let Me, and here comes a massive wall. Multiple critical health bars. Kahlua and Joinby essentially out of this fight.
Absolutely insane turn from Ming right there. It looks so bad for RNG. Let Me already unable to participate in the fight. Xiaohu down, but RNG still willing to play a 3v5 through the ramp to chase Rogue Warriors off.
Good damage juggle out from Rogue Warriors, but they've also got the base to think about. Bottom lane being cracked open. That's going to allow RNG access onto the Baron right here. Flawless up to the top side, stealthing through the jungle.
There's no flash though. There is still a blast cone on the back side of it, but he's not going to reach for it.
Going to make the rotation to bottom side. Karsa's already setting up the Elder Dragon. RNG will be okay with this constellation prize. Only one dragon to their name, but still a big takeaway from Rogue Warriors, who have 3 to their name.
And that was such a tense moment. I thought for sure that Rogue Warriors were going to take that fight and then finish off with the Baron, but Ming comes in with the hero save. Let Me would have died right then and there, and the Baron would have been Rogue Warriors to take. They could stall out the inhibitors, they could look for another team fight. But Uzi steps up and says no. He's going down the ramp, he's chasing after the 5-man from Rogue Warriors. That was really insane. Like, I don't think any AD carry would be willing to make such a risky move.
And frankly, I don't think there's another team in the LPL who can match Rogue Warriors when they make a play like that.
Yeah.
Everyone else collapses. We talk about the Baron plays, talk about the pick, the skirmish into the Baron itself. Let Me getting caught out once again, though. SMLZ rushing him down to melee range. Wants to put him in the ground. Flawless is there as well, chasing him out, crawling away from the fight. But the Baron is down. It goes over to Uzi. It's a fight on 2 fronts. And there will be a massive taunt coming out on the bottom side. And Uzi kiting away. Big health bars, though. And Joinby will kite away from this one. Get out of here, says Kahlua to Uzi. And the rest of his team is getting melted. Uzi without the access. Triple kill over to SMLZ. But here's Uzi chasing down the AD carry. 3 taps onto the AD. That's going to be a quadra. Uzi comes up clutch.
Once again, RNG, they lose 2 members to start the fight out. It looks so bad. It looked unsalvageable. Karsa going down, Let Me going down, but Uzi on the front side. He keeps his damage up. Nobody touches him throughout the entire situation. I thought that was it for RNG. They clawed back.
I cannot believe that Uzi and Xiaohu managed to take it from the jaws of defeat, pushing it down the mid lane. A must-win match here for RNG to bring us back to even. Rogue Warriors on the point of match point. Both Nexus turrets fall. The hero of the hour, it's Uzi as they take game 2.
RNG keeping their hopes alive on the backs of Uzi. This man, he has so many good plays on the vein. 4 pentakills on his name historically. And when it counts most, he does pull the pick through. Never found a win on it through the regular split, but when it matters the most in playoffs, Uzi is there for you.
It's like, hey guys, you see that quadra kill from Vayne? That's why we picked the pick. You need something to happen, you need a win, you need me to pull something out, and it will be right there.
That was absolutely insane. Rogue Warriors had so much tenacity. They fumbled the mid game, but they were willing to make big, risky plays to get back into it, and they actually found the picks. It looked like they were going to win the fight. Kahlua had a great time frontlining. He knocked Uzi back multiple times, but then when it came down to the 2v4 in that final moment, RNG still came out ahead. I need to see that replay over and over again.
I was going to say, if I could get one thing for Christmas, it's going to be that replay and just watch it like 10 times. Because that was literally 2 people left. That was a 2 versus 4, maybe.
Yeah, it was a 2v4.
Yeah, 2 versus 4, and Uzi through the ramp just pushes all the way through them. I was like, there's no way this happens. I mean, he spent the entire fight hitting 2 beefy tanks. He managed to keep them at bay. The rest of the team gets routed, taken out, and somehow he just finds the damage. Like chasing SMLZ towards his red buff, no one able to peel him, shoots right through the team, and 3 taps Jin.
That was absolutely insane. Let's watch this fight again. A great start for Rogue Warriors. They actually used the Realm Warp to get towards the top side of this fight, I believe. Was this the final fight? Yeah, this was it. Karsa was up in a bad position as well, and you could see the 2 beefy members in the front line, already a exhaust onto Uzi. There's nothing much that he can do. Let Me falls down, Karsa goes down, SMLZ is still firing away at the situation. But then there's a triple taunt coming in from from Xiaohu, and he obliterates the front line with the help of Uzi in an instant and even survives it.
Clement just replay-by-played that fight. It was so high. We can do that one more time. I mean,
Oh my God, can we run through that again and again? Oh,
the two-man heroic defense, a 2 versus 5 into the jungle. I mean, that's a highlight clip that's going to be played for generations. I mean, what do you do? Just ban out Vayne now? Or, like, does he do this every single game? Because it seems like when you put them down to the wire, even all the way back, they're still going to pull out something. Yes, they were ahead leading up to that play, and Rogue Warriors, they were the aggressors. Props to them for even making that play happen in the first place, but it seems like there's no getting past this man.
the thing is, I don't even know how you play that better as Rogue Warriors. You had the 2 frontline tanks right in front of Uzi, exhaust onto him, you kill 2 members, you kill 2 massive damage dealers in Karsa and Let Me, and you still lose the fight. Like, how does that even happen? Like,
sometimes a player just comes up clutch, Clement, but then it comes down to the rest of the match, right? It's just like they were maybe too far behind even getting to that point in the game. The game was probably lost before that fight even erupts.
and that just goes to prove what the LPL players have been telling me all along. When it really comes down to it, execution is always part of the
There you go.
play.
Clement's a believer now in the LPL. That's what you like. 1 year of the LPL has finally changed Clement's mind. There it is. Execution in the moment can override what should be a statistical advantage.
And of course, man of the match has to go to Uzi.
It could be anyone else.
Who else?
159%
420
damage to
CS
gold
as
ratio.
well. Definitely very high plays here.
I mean, in that first game, it went over to SMLZ. That was like 140%, and he was just like, watch this. Comes out, smashes them in a team fight. 420 CS.
And it looks so bad for RNG to start the game off. You have to remember that they started this game with 2 kills down. There was a level 2 Karsa roaming around the map. He could not affect the bot lane. And RNG was still able to claw themselves back into the fight, mainly off of the quick collapses coming in by Ming and Xiaohu. I think those were the 2 big playmakers, and also that mid-game fight. The Talia wall into Condemn, like, that was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, like SMLZ, how do you even predict that,
You
right?
never
Like,
think
we
about
praise
that.
SMLZ for being one of the players with the best team fight positioning. Whatever you say about the laning phase is okay, but in the team fights, he is the guy that you can say 100% he has the safest hands of any marksman. Inter gets taken down. That's going to be a fight over to RNG. In fact, this is the one you were just talking about, Clement. That's supposedly what it could do. He's pinned against the wall, CC chained.
Yeah, I'm not even sure the pin actually landed.
No, it was coming out from Let Me. Let Me just kept him in place.
But I think the idea was definitely there in the way that they could execute that, and that opened up the map quite heavily. Like, you have to remember that Rogue Warriors actually ran the early game for quite a long time.
Yeah. And honestly, the comeback win looked like a Rogue Warriors story. If you just flip the nameplates, it'd be like, yep, that's how Rogue Warriors win a game. But RNG were the ones to stymie them. Hitting hard in the early game, good job to Rogue Warriors, but he couldn't keep Carter out. Picked up a Medjais, and it's just like, here we go. I just goes to town, winning skirmishes, game after game, fight after fight.
But can we talk about the plays Rogue Warriors actually made after the mid-game to keep in the fight? I think those were probably the best possible plays that anyone could make in that situation.
Yeah.
Mouse with the hero play in the bot lane, the catch on to Let Me, and then the Realm Warp into the backline to kill Let Me once again. Like, all of those plays, I felt like in the moment with their gold deficit, they were the best possible plays that you could make to claw yourself back. And they still didn't work.
I mean, it's instantaneous out from Rogue Warriors as well, right? Like, this is the difference between them and, like, any other of the top teams we have right now, is they will make a snap decision, and more often than not, it's a good setup as well. They just go straight for it, and against any other team that isn't RNG performing at their top form, this will work. And we've seen it all the way through summer, all the way through spring, and it just almost feels unfortunate that they have to face RNG right here in the semis. If you put them on the other side of the bracket, I think they smash anyone who comes up through that side.
Unfortunately for Rogue Warriors, they had great play, great synergy, but, you know, having to run through RNG, whatever, that still makes me super excited for the rest of the BO3, because both of these teams, they're making great plays, they're making great executions, and they're just one-upping each other over and over again.
Then how do you get over this? Is there a singular, like, pick, strategy, anything that you can say? If you were in the comms right now and you could just give them one piece of advice, it's like, this is how you get over them, because that looks so waterproof from RNG in every situation that it seems very difficult to give them anything.
I just think for Rogue Warriors, don't split up in a lot of their plays. That's really what cost them the early game. Like, they were splitting onto the top tower, and then when RNG, you give them the semi-global tools, they can collapse on you so fast. So always have the 5v5 in mind and try to force harder with that.
And once again, it wasn't Urgot's fault. We're going to take a short break before we get into game number 3 of this best of 5.
让我们把故事传唱下去，继续书写 RNG 的传说。